The challenge is to find the people who have gotten to the point where they're ready to make a decision, but have not decided what to do. And it is in the consideration and preference phases that you have the biggest challenge, because that is the sort of black hole of traditional marketing. That also happens to be where word of mouth is the most effective, and as a result, it is where social technology is most effective. And this is why we're finding that in these tough times, interest in social technology as a marketing technique continues to increase. So we surveyed marketers, 145 global marketers, at the end of last year to ask them about their investments in social technology. And because we've all blocked it out, I will remind you that yes, there was a recession at the end of last year, and it was pretty severe, just as it is now. And if you look at what they're most likely to have said they will increase their spending on, what is it? It's social networking, it's blogging, it's user-generated content, and then a couple of notches down, it is online video. The same social technologies I was just talking about. Display ads and email marketing a little bit less likely to be getting those increased investments in this environment. In fact, when we asked people, are you planning on increasing your investments in social technology or maintaining them, among those who had already used social technologies, 93% said that they would either maintain or increase their investment in social technologies. Now, is there any other form of marketing that can say this in this recessionary environment? Clearly, people are excited about the potential. The challenge is that this is how they think of it, right? We've got all these technologies, podcasts, gadgets, widgets, Twitter, social networks. The problem with this slide is that I have to update it once a week. You cannot succeed if you think about these technologies this way, because your head will spin as the new stuff comes out. Instead, we recommend thinking about things in terms of your objectives and about the long-term trend here. The groundswell, as we call it, is a social trend which people use, in which people use social technologies to get the things they need from each other rather than from traditional institutions like corporations. And when you see things this way, you recognize that while the technology continues to change, this trend is constant, it's steady, and it's increasing. And it results from the fact that people want to connect with one another, a connection that they've wanted to do at least since there was language. Look at it this way, and you actually see what direction to go. The second thing to concentrate on is to think about objectives. Successful social applications in a marketing context have clear objective and metrics that matter. Now, let me tell you a story about this. If you think about this, if you put any other kind of technology application to work, no one would think of doing it without having the objective specified first. You never hear a conversation that goes like this. Hey, we put in place a new accounting system. Really? Why? Well, because we thought it would be cool. And yet, people come to me all the time and say, I want to start a blog, we want to do a Facebook page. And when you press them on what they want to accomplish, it comes down to, well, it's the cool thing to do right now. We are long past that point in social technologies, and in fact, now is the time to be doing this with specific business objectives in mind. Now, telling you that you shouldn't start a marketing program unless you know what your objectives are is the least original idea I have ever had. However, it seems to be something that people really need to hear right now. So as you go forward, have an objective in mind and put in place metrics that measure something that matter. And I'm going to show you how to do this in the rest of this talk. So how do you think about this? This is your company. Inside your company, you're conceiving of products and marketing messages. You send them out to consumers, and what do? They consume the marketing messages, and then they consume the products. Right. That's the way we used to think it worked. In fact, what's happening right now is they're connecting with each other. They are drawing information and support from each other. They are deciding on their own who you are and what you stand for. And in fact, The only way to succeed is to become a part of this conversation in a long-term and permanent way. This is you and your customers together in the groundswell, and I'm going to show you how to take advantage of that. Now, I know it's shocking for me to come up here and tell you, as an analyst and an author, that you should follow a 4-step process, but I'm going to do this anyway. So the 4 steps, for those of you who've read Groundswell, you remember this, is to start with people, assess the social activities of the customers you're trying to reach. If you're telling me that what you really want to go after is a 65-year-old man, and I actually had this conversation with somebody recently, and you want to know what social technologies to use, my response is, don't use this, because 65-year-old men aren't doing this right now. On the other hand, if you're going after college students, you'd better use Facebook. Objectives, decide what you want to accomplish. You have to know where you're going in order to be able to get there. Third is strategy, plan for how your relationships with customers will change in the long term. This is not a campaign. Once you start these connections, they will have the expectation that you will continue them. And finally, and lastly, technology. Decide which of the social technologies you're going to use based on the people, objectives, and strategy, not based on the article that you read in Advertising Age last week.